Hi, hello, happy Monday and happy day, whatever we're on. It's Monday of the Biggest Week Yet challenge. Let's make sure that I am in all the spaces and hope everyone had a great weekend. If you're just joining the Biggest Week Yet challenge for the first time, I'm Dora Rankin, founder of Gypsy Soul Coaching and the Women Who Soar Collective. And the challenge this week, since last Thursday, has been all about how we're hitting the streets doing some lead gen. And so we can convert that into meetings and sales. So, where am I? Yeah. Oh, nope, not there. Make sure. If you're coming in live on Monday, today, please come in and say hi and let me know you can see me. Let me know where you're from if you haven't joined. Okay, yes, here I am. Okay. How was everyone's weekend? And what did you get done in regards to the Biggest Week Yet challenge? What did you get done? Did you get your list built? Did you get your script done? Did you start to send messages? And have you gotten any meetings? Why don't you let me know? Okay. So I just had two amazing client calls. So I need to switch from two amazing client calls to the Biggest Week Yet challenge. get my head on straight. And I had some notes around what we were going to talk about today. Hi guys, hello. And where are all of my notes? Oh, okay. So the homework. We've had some homework happening, and I just want to highlight some of the things that I've asked you to do. And we'll start there. One of the things I asked you to do is to think about who you're going to target this week and what that target audience is going to be. So that's number one, is the target audience. Anyone have questions around building out their list, figuring out where their target audience is? I know that's a question that comes up a lot, is I'm not really sure where to look and how to build my audience. Okay. Yeah. So if you are behind, Julie, it's totally okay. You can just pick up, hit the reset button and start today. So the target audience, that is part of the Q times Q equals R, the Q times Q equals R formula. And that the Q times Q equals R formula is the formula that we use for every lead generating activity. So a lead generating activity is different than our marketing strategy, right? Because we are doing outbound work in our lead gen. So we have 4 different ways that we get sales through our lead gen. And this week specifically, we're talking about one of the hardest, most challenging ways, which is strategic outreach. And inside strategic outreach, we are going to use that Q times Q equals R formula, which is qualitative times quantitative equals results. The qualitative, that's your target audience. That's who you're going to reach out to. So if I am looking at my qualitative, I'm figuring out who is this target, who is this audience. Hi guys, hello, thanks so much for coming in. And then my other Q is quantitative, which is my number, right? So I'm building out a list that I want you guys to be at least looking at a list of at least 50, and at least a minimum of 50 on your list this week. Hopefully you sent out some over the weekend or got yourself prepped to send everything out. And then the result is to schedule meetings. The result isn't to get a sale. The result is to schedule meetings. And then in those meetings, that's where you are turning them into clients. So let's talk about this target audience. This target audience is made up of prospects of people that could be your ideal client. So there's two different types of target audiences. There's the target audience that is your ideal client, and then there's the target audience that is your ideal partner. For this challenge, we're working on ideal clients. So one of you or whoever that's in here, tell me what you do. Go ahead and tell me what you do and who you serve. So who your target audience is. So go ahead and type in the chat or in the post comments what you do and who you serve. And from there, we'll identify where you can find your target audience and how to start building that list. So go ahead and put that in the comments, and I'll go ahead and answer where you can start finding your target audience instead of just coming up with it. I'm just waiting. I feel like I need to like start singing a song here. Okay, so I see female executives. All right, so female executives, that is a very broad target audience. So we have a broad target audience, and we need to narrow that down into more of a macro audience of female executives. So if we keep our audience really really broad, that's great. Like we can work with all female executives. But when it comes to putting together a lead generation pipeline and putting together a lead generation activity, we need to have a target audience so we can complete that activity, right? So if we are too broad, it makes it really challenging and difficult to center in and do a lead generating activity. So if I am building a list of 50 female executives that I'm going to send messages out to, I need to figure out what female executives am I going to focus on first. What female executives am I going to focus on first? They have 15 plus years of experience, are experts at what they do, and don't know how to put themselves out there. Is that what the executive leaders are? I think. Oh, I work with women in leadership to prepare their exit from corporate by building visibility and a personal brand. Also wonderful. Okay, so executives where? So what type of industry would make sense for you to reach out to? How long have they been working there? What would be like their title inside of the industry? So these are executive leaders. You're going to find them on LinkedIn, right? So I'm going to find them on LinkedIn. I'm going to take advantage of the filters that LinkedIn has and that Sales Navigator has. And I'm going to say, okay, here's a few industries that I'm going to focus in on. And here's how long you can filter how long they have not how long they've been in business, but how how long their experience or how long they've been in the role. And you can start pulling a list that way and then put together the message. So is that helpful? All right, let's see. Who are making less than 5K a month in their business. They haven't taken any action to move their business forward. Okay, so I'm going to read this one. For this challenge, I am focusing on women CEOs and entrepreneurs who are making less than $5,000 a month in their business, and that's because they haven't taken action to move their business forward. I empower entrepreneurs to transform their fears into action to reach their next level of success. So, targeting, this is a broad target, right? This is women entrepreneurs that are making less than $5,000 a month. And where are they? That's so broad. We want to pick a couple of different categories here. So where do these under 5,000 women hang out? Are they hanging out in Facebook groups? And inside those Facebook groups, are you able to identify where they're at in their business and then reach out to them by building out that list? So and also, what type of businesses are they in? Are they running, are they freelancing? So maybe taking a list of um, women business owners that are making less than 5,000 because they're freelance marketing and they want to move from freelance marketing into to full-time running an agency. So picking an industry and going into a group on Facebook to build your list. That is an idea. Okay. How was that helpful to the two of you that I just um answered questions to? So hopefully this no, you can work with any industry, but for your lead gen activity, you want to focus in on one target audience. So, and you can and this is for you to experiment with. You can pick a couple of targeted audiences and start reaching out. But if we're too broad, we're also too cold, right? So too broad equals too cold. So once we say, okay, let me get more macro level, then I can, or micro level, then I can feel out who's going to respond to me. And when it comes to your social media and your marketing, broad is fine because a larger audience is seeing you and you're not going out to them, they're coming and finding you. But when we're going out and we're finding our ideal clients, we want to figure that out with a lens that's more micro than macro. Okay, so I'm an event planner and strategist. I service corporate and nonprofit executives and directors. I'm currently focusing on local nonprofits and high-end retail industries. Okay, so what's your price point? So I'm really curious what your price point is because and what one I'm curious what your price point is, and the other is I'm curious as to what your network is. So if you have a background in event planning and you're launching this full time, what types of organizations and corporations do you have a background in network with? So do you have a network with nonprofits, and is that why you're choosing nonprofits? Do you have a network in the retail industry, and is that why you're choosing retail? What that's my question really is that why you're choosing those two? So if I'm an event planner and I'm figuring out my target audience to do this lead gen activity, then I want to lean into the lowest hanging fruit first, which is what is my background? What is my experience? So, my experiences with these types of corporations, these types of businesses, that's what I have experience with. So, I'm going to lean into that. And I know the people there. So I have a background with both, especially nonprofits. So, especially nonprofits, building out your list, building out your first list around the people that you already know. So the warm list and the hot list is always better than the cold list. You want to saturate that before you go into anything cold. So making a whole list of all of the nonprofits that you're familiar with, that you know someone at, and starting there with your message and reaching out to connect and talk about their projects and priorities that they have on the horizon, and then even really introducing them to what you do and why you're doing it and who you serve. Hopefully that makes sense. But no, I'm sure you know that when it comes to nonprofits, the higher the budget for the nonprofit, the more lucrative it's going to be for you. So service planning package of 8,500 focused on conferences and formal events. I love that. I love that so much. And what I also love about that, Nikisha, is that right now when it comes to conferences and formal events, in also in the nonprofit world, they're receiving funding for doing different programs, bringing in their keynote speakers. So if you can get in before, the year before they're planning out their next conference, then they're going to secure you first. It's going to be the priority to secure you to then plan that out. I love that so much. So I can see so many cool ways that you can build a list for nonprofits, especially nonprofits that have upcoming conferences in 2024. So like I picture even like religious nonprofits that are having speakers come out. They're building out their conference. They don't want to have it hands-on, so they're hiring you. So you can get really creative in your list building and how you're testing and experimenting. Um, I'd just be really strategic about the nonprofits that you choose and that they're the larger nonprofit organizations, so they fit they fit your budget, right? And because you have a lot of room to go up, that starting plan of 8,500, you have a lot of room to raise your price as well. Nice. Great. So I wanted to address some questions around how do I figure out this target audience um and talk about that a little bit. And then the number. So the number is like, oh, it takes so much time to build this list. And the thing is it's never going away. Like once I build one list, I now need to build another list. Like we're always list building and we're always data mining, especially when we're trying to figure it out. So I typically say when I'm working with you to build out your lead gen plan, perfect your sales process, and then bring in and build out your marketing, that like this time, this lead generating time, it typically takes anywhere from 7 to 10 hours a week just to do all the work, And then you get to a place where you can hire someone to help you with all of the list building, because the number really does matter. It does. It really matters. So I'll say it again if you've heard it before, but the number matters because the colder the lead, the higher the volume. So let's give you an example. If I'm brand new on LinkedIn and I want to build an audience on LinkedIn, an audience of buyers on LinkedIn, and it's completely cold, and I decide that my target audience is C-suite executive leaders and C-suite executive leaders in the finance industry, I'm going to pick that industry. I'm going to pull a list of a couple of thousand. I'm going to pull a list of a couple of thousand, 2, 3, 4,000, and I'm going to start there because it's so cold. Yeah, letting that sink in. And so how do I pull a list of a couple thousand? Usually it's through some type of list building software that's going to help me pull that list. And that's where I'm starting with cold. And then with warm leads, so this is some type of connection. I'm in a really big networking group. Say I'm part of a big networking group in Facebook, and I have some connection with them. So I'm going to build a list of about 100 warm and start DMing them to schedule meetings. Okay. And conversion rate is anywhere from 3 to 5%. So for whatever you do, expect a 3 to 5% conversion of meetings that you're going to schedule. If it works, right? So we got to experiment and get it to work. And then the third is your hot lead. So your hot is they know you, and it could be a list of 10 that you're always working. I have my list of 10 hot, and I'm always working that list of 10 hot, and the hotter the better, right? But that gives you some idea of how much outreach you should be doing each and every week when I'm building out a lead gen plan with someone. When I'm building out a lead gen plan with groups and with clients, it's always like no less than 25, at least, like no less than 25 a week, that we're touching. And really important is that we stay consistent and that we're doing outreach, we're building our lead gen plan, and we don't make major changes within the first 4 weeks. So we build this out. And here's the thing, guys, this is one piece of the lead gen plan. So there's 3 other things we're doing. It's just in this challenge, this is one piece. So it's so important to know that your income activities, what's going to increase your income, this is one of the pieces that's going to do that, and it's going to do it quickly. It's going to do it quickly, which is great to know. So do you suggest list building software for us cold folks? Yes. So I think all of us are cold folks too, like, because we're going in cold. So yes, I mean, I do recommend Hunter, Apollo IO, Copilot IO. Those are all, even using Fiverr to have somebody build lists for you. But when you're doing something that's super cold, you want to identify, is it really that cold, or is there some type of connection that you can build your list off of? So if, Nikisha, you're an event planner and it's cold, then the look at starting foundationally from like your area first. So when I was building out startups and was going in and what's called activating a market, instead of activating like the US, I activated one market at a time. So I'd focus on one area at a time. So it would start with my local area, and I'd build a list locally, right? All of the nonprofits in one area that are focused on one or two things. So that's how you can warm it up a little bit, because you can find that commonality, right, when you're sending out your messaging, and it becomes less overwhelming for you. So when I was building out the crowdfunding business, when it was fintech and crowdfunding and nobody knew what we were doing and all of that, and it was in the middle of COVID, that's where I started. I started with the local community, and then over 3 years built out 17 states, right? So I was building one market at a time. Yeah, right. I know. It doesn't. I know. So we want to start, I know, building out the whole US it becomes very overwhelming. So one market at a time. Okay, so that's target audience, that's number, so the qualitative and the quantitative, and then we have results. So the result is I'm going to get meetings. And so let's make some clear realistic expectations around meetings. So how many meetings should I be having a week, Dora? That's one of the big questions. So I'm doing all this outreach, I'm sending all these messages. How many meetings should I have a week? And to start, I say 8 to 10. 8 to 10 meetings a week is the range. If you can fit in more, great. But anything less than that, you're not there yet. So even to this day, I still schedule anywhere from 5 to 7 meetings a week. And that's with demand, right? So until you have demand, you in a wait list, you want to have 8 to 10 meetings a week. So all of this outreach is converting to 8 to 10 meetings a week. And that's our outreach for ideal clients. Obviously, there's also outreach for ideal partners. So I say 8 to 10 total, including partners. So you're meeting with partners and you're meeting with ideal prospects at least 8 to 10 times a week. And those meetings should be at least 30 minutes and they should be face to face. So I also wanted to talk a little bit about the rest of the um, discovery call and your conversation and what that guide is. And so yesterday we talked about the first 4 steps, which are build rapport, agenda, outcome, and your profiling questions. Thank you to everyone who sent their profiling questions. So thank you for that. And I'm making a note here because what I want to share is that to be Monday through Thursday, between today and our last day on Thursday, I'm going to share it at the end to make you guys stay on. So I have an announcement, but I'm sharing it at the end. So stay tuned for a big announcement at the end here. But I want to go through the final 4 steps of the discovery call and talk a little bit about how your homework went. If you were able to build out some profiling questions, and for the folks that did send them to me, what that process was like. So right after profiling, we go right into what's called your turn. So building rapport, agenda, outcome, profiling, and then when we're done asking all of our questions and profiling and getting to know the person we're talking to, then it's your turn. That's literally the name of the step, and that basically means it's your turn to tell your story. So your story, not this is what I do and this is how I do it and I can help you. Your turn is not when we pitch. Your turn is not when we summarize what they need. Your turn is where it's literally your turn to tell your story. So what that means is within no more than 5 to 7 minutes, you're putting together your story and you're sharing it with them. And your story is not, this is what I do and this is who I help. Your story is your story. So one of the things I really suggest and recommend you doing is getting comfortable with being vulnerable and getting comfortable with telling your story. Because the more unguarded you are, the more unguarded your potential client is going to be too. So think about how you show up for these conversations and think about how willing you are to share your story with the other person. So even if you sell something that is very unsexy, even if you sell something that is really just boring, that's okay. I've never sold anything sexy. Everything I ever sold was either extremely complex, people didn't understand it, or it was very financially driven, and financially driven stuff is usually really boring, right? But what's important to know is that when we're telling our story, it allows people to get to know us, and people buy from people they trust and they like. So it's not about telling them about your product and your features, and it's about telling them about you and who you are and why you do what you do. So really quickly, I can spit it out so quick because I've been doing it for so long. My story, when it's my turn, I'm saying, well, I'm Cleveland girl, born and raised, found myself divorced at 25. I had a 6-month-old at my hip and a 2-year-old at my knee, and jumped into the bank because that was my background. And by the time I was 27, I found myself as a senior exec, senior leader at the bank. And for the next 17 years, I was developing top performing sales leaders and working with business owners. 2017, I lost my job. It was terrifying. I had gone through all of those life things. And yeah, when I lost my job, I knew I didn't want to go back to the bank. I was in this awful corporate trafficking world. I was having panic attacks every day. It was awful. And so I went back to school and always wanted to go to school where my grandfather went to school. He was the hierarchy of our family. So I did, and I did some higher education and got empowered, got certified in empowering women's leadership at Cornell. And from there, I got tapped on the shoulder and asked if I would join a high growth startup. And that startup took me on this whirlwind of being a woman in fintech. But I knew that that was not my calling. I knew that I wanted to do something more. And so I did, and I smushed everything together from all of those years at the bank to the startup and started my own business coaching practice. And it was literally the day my sister looked at me and said, "Why don't you take everything that's wrapped around your pinky and your finger and go give it to women?" And that's what I've been doing ever since. So I think I said that in about 3 minutes. That's what I want you guys to do. I want you guys to put together your story. And that's what you share in your turn. And the difference between I hope you heard it. The difference between your story and telling somebody what you do is it's much more personal and it really connects you to the person that you're talking with. What do you guys think of that? There's a lot of vulnerability there, right? So once we get past your turn, the very next step is then to summarize. So expect someone not to ask as many questions as you ask because they don't have the path. So once you talk about what you do and your turn and your story, they may not have as many questions, right? So don't feel bad about that. That's just because they don't have the same path. Cool. um and that's sweet. So what was I saying? Oh, okay, so they may not be asking that many questions, but don't take that personally. Now, after your turn and whatever questions they have, now you can summarize. So back to yesterday, when you were sharing when you were going through your profiling questions and thinking up your profiling questions yesterday, when I said, okay, hey, the moment that you get to the pain, the moment you find out, hey, I can really help this person, that gives you the green light to be able to pitch, even though you don't want to. You're going to. It's a disservice not to pitch to these folks if you can solve their problem. So, what does that look like? Your summary is actually your pitch. So, right after your turn, you're saying, this is a summary. You're saying, hey, based on all the stuff that you just told me, I think I can help you. Can I talk with you about that? Here are the things that you shared with me. A, B, C, D. You're listing all those things off that you know that you can help support them in. You're not saying that before your turn. You're not saying that during the profiling. You're waiting it out until it's time for the summary. And why that's so important is because sometimes we can get happy ears. Yeah, I really want you to share it in the group too. Sometimes we can get what's called happy ears. And the moment that we hear someone say, "Oh my gosh, I've been sitting on my website for so long and I just haven't made it a priority." Oh, the sky opens up when we hear it and we get these happy ears and we immediately go to what's called product vomiting. Sarah, if you're familiar with product vomiting. We immediately go to product vomiting. We're like, oh my gosh, I can really help you with that. And I am a website designer and this is how I can do it. Blah, blah, blah. And you lose them. You lose them. So the moment you are starting to go like this and get happy ears, I want you to go like this and go back. Go back, go back, go back. Don't do it. Just keep asking questions. Knowing that you've heard it, you figured it out. You're going to keep asking questions so you can get to that pain. Why haven't you had that website built out? What has been stopping you? Have you been pivoting? Do you not know what your design wants to be? You just keep asking questions. You want to get to that pain. And then when it comes to the summary, that's when you can say, you know what, based on all the stuff that you just told me back in, when we were talking, I really think it can help you. Can I discuss that with you? You're asking them, you're getting a permission. You're getting permission. And remember at the very beginning of the call, you talked about the outcome that one of three things were potentially going to happen. One, there's an opportunity to work together. Two, there's not, but that's okay. Or three, you've just tapped the surface. So you've already gotten that permission. You've already got that mutually agreed upon permission. So they're going to say to you, yeah, sure. Okay. So once we do the summary, we talk back, we share with them what they've told us already, and we get on the same page, then we get to pitch. A pitch consists of three things. That's it. A pitch is really short and sweet. A pitch consists of your timeline, your deliverables, and your price. And that's it. So the moment that I give my summary, you give your summary based on these things. This is how I can help you. Then you lean and say, this is how you can work with me. You can work with me for 6 months to a year. We're going to build the entire roadmap of your business together. We're going to build your lead gen. We're going to build your marketing. We're going to build your sales process. And for 6 months, we're going to do that. And the price for that is $10,000. That's what you say. And then you shut up. You don't say anything else. I know you really, really want to say something else because it's going to be uncomfortable. But the reason why it's short and sweet is because if you keep talking and telling them what comes with all of the things, you're not going to know if it's valuable to them. You have to shut up so they can tell you what's valuable to them. And they're going to tell you through engaged questions. So if they come out and have questions, okay, what do we do during those 6 months? What does that look like? Do you have payment plans? If they start asking questions, you know where the value is for them if they're engaged, and you also know what obstacles they're going to be coming up with. Like there's always barriers. But if we keep talking and saying, we're going to work together and just going on and on and on because we're nervous, because we don't know, we're going to not know what's valuable to them. And so that's how you pitch. That's how you pitch. What do you guys think of that? And then the very, very last step, once you pitch, is to handle the objections. Handling objections, usually it's money. It's, I got to talk to somebody. I got to think it over. I'm not sure. So handling objections means that you go back to the pain profiling questions. Somewhere in the pain profiling questions, you missed the mark. Aw, good. Yay. So in the pain profiling, somewhere you missed the mark, and that's okay. You get to go back there and discover that. Discover, like, okay, if money is an issue and they don't have the money to do this, but they want to do it, and money is the only thing stopping them. Let's go back to the funnel. Okay, so here's the things that you told me, and you ask those questions again because they're allowing those energy, that fear to get in the way of them saying yes to something they really want to do. And we're not going to overcome everything. I think I told you guys yesterday, I got 8 no's in the last 2 weeks. And I had to just be okay with getting 8 no's in the last 2 weeks. And I also had to be okay with looking at were they my clients? Was it my target audience? Did I ask the right questions? Right? Even though I'm teaching this, we all get no's, right? So it's okay to get the no. Gosh, this has been fun. So what questions do you have? Do you have any questions about the entire process, like from build rapport all the way to pitch and handling objections? There's a lot there, right? There's a ton there to unpack. So your goal, ready? Your goal this week is to go out and set meetings. So then you can show up for these meetings and walk through the path that I just hand delivered to you. And that's why I gave you the workshop. The How to Host a Non-Salesy Sales Conversation is that discovery call. It's everything that we're talking about right now that you can just start using when you hop on these calls. Okay. So, we've done a lot, right? And it's only Monday. So we have got Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to send our messages, perfect our prospecting script, get ready. It's okay if you don't remember the steps in order. So, um when you watch the How to Host a Non-Salesy workshop, I go over it again, and then you can just put pen to paper and write them down. And also, you can start practicing, just practicing role playing. Go to your husband and say, I want to run through this discovery call with you and practice. And here's the thing, you're supposed to stumble through. You're supposed to. Practicing and stumbling is part of the process. I think I've told you guys this again, or told you this before, but if you want to make 10, 20, 40, 60, $100,000 a month, this is a major piece of that. Being able to do this and do it really well is a major, major piece of that. And it's an area that other people don't know about. So for all of you that are joining this challenge, you have a gem, you have a secret that other people don't have. Other people are trying to replace this with marketing and hoping that marketing is going to work so they don't have to do these one-on-one conversations, right? So that's just the reality. That's the real. You wrote the whole script and keep it during the call. Same here. When I first started 20 years ago, I had my entire script as well. I didn't use it like a robot, but I had it written just so it was comfort, it was safety, it was like helpful for me to know that I just had it. I had all of my profiling questions just there, my outcome just there. The outcome was really hard, right? The personal story, like being able to say my personal story. I spent a lot of time like writing that down, right? Because these calls are really important. They're not just coffee chats. They are your potential clients, your opportunity to build partnerships, long-lasting relationships. These are really important calls. Okay, so your homework assignment for Monday is to, if you haven't finished your list, get your list done, to send out your messages. And tomorrow, I'd like to hear if you've scheduled any meetings. So if you've scheduled any meetings, I would like to hear about that in the call tomorrow. Oh, in the call tomorrow, I'm also doing hot seat coaching. So anyone that wants to get on the hot seat with me and do some of this work together tomorrow, we're going to do hot seat coaching. Please just DM me and say, hey, I want 10, 15 minutes on the hot seat. And I'll send you the Restream link and you can come in with me and we can talk about what you're going through during this challenge. I really, really welcome that. So homework is list, message, send, meeting scheduled. How many meetings do you have scheduled? So I've been playing around with this, and here's my big announcement. And I'll continue to announce this through the week. So many of you know I have a membership. and it's called the Women Who Soar Masters community. And some of you are inside the Women Who Soar Masters community, and you joined when I had the price tag of my beta price. So I am giving away 2 things. One, I'm giving away a membership for anyone. Well, not anyone. I'm giving away a membership to one person tomorrow. And that membership means that you get the Women Who Soar Masters community for an entire year. And it's a $5.99 price tag. So I'm giving away one of those. And that is for anyone who does the homework. And that homework is, again, to come in and tell me how many meetings. So that is one membership to the Women Who Soar community. But the big, gigantic announcement is that one person is going to get an $8,000 slot to my mastermind. So an $8,000 slot to my mastermind. And that mastermind is launching on Thursday, of course, because that's our last day together. But I am going to gift one person the mastermind. Yeah. So that's happening. It's an $8,000 container. However, I know. However, on Thursday, I'm also going to announce that the early birds are going to get the mastermind for $6,000. So when it comes to early birds, that means the first 5 people to sign up are going to get it for $6,000. So I'm giving 1 seat away. 1 seat is being given away. Another 5 are going to be at $6,000. And then it's limited. So this mastermind, I'm not going to have more than 15 people in it. And the mastermind is going to be a 3-month mastermind for women that are on the fast track that want to really earn the income that they desire and build out their entire lead gen strategy, their entire marketing strategy, and perfect their sales process. I'm so glad that they're exciting. I know I'm excited about them too. Okay, so between today and Thursday, if you want to talk to me about the mastermind or the membership, please feel free to reach out to me and we can schedule some time on my calendar. But yeah, I wanted to announce that. Usually people announce it at the end of their challenge, but we've got the whole week together, so why not announce it? Celebrate the winner on Thursday so people can see. I think that's a lot of fun. Yeah, and we've got a lot of work to do this week, right? So get to work, and reach out to me if you need anything at all. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.